Hey everybody, welcome back to Unbreakable Success. I'm Aaron Keith Hawkins, and I'm about to introduce you to a brilliant friend named Ashley Davis. He's the owner of Skyline Social, and he's a social media marketing genius. So if you're an entrepreneur and you need to learn how to use social media marketing better, and you want to get more out of your social media efforts, both paid and organic, then stay tuned because Ashley's about to drop a whole lot of information for us. So without further delay, here's Ashley. All right, Ashley, welcome to Unbreakable Success. Thank you so much for showing up and being willing to give us some good stuff today. How is it down there in Miami?
Hey, Aaron, it's fantastic to be on the show. Really, really happy to be here. And it's actually pretty good here in Miami. It's sunny, which is great because normally it's raining like all the time.
Yeah.
So it's good to see the sun out today. So it's a pretty good day.
Nice. Well, listen, I know you have a lot of good stuff you want to share today. But before we get into that, can we get a little bit, just let everybody know what your backstory is and how your condensed version of your entrepreneurial journey up to what you're doing today.
Sure. So it kind of started, I'd say just over 10 years ago when I was at school. I actually built a website for myself as a hobby more than anything else because I was really into, websites and the internet and, how can we actually do something on the internet and publish something you're interested in. And I was like a massive video game fan back when I was a kid. I used to play video games all the time. So I built a website about video games just for fun, really. I wasn't really expecting anything to happen. And I realized that after I spent all this time and hard work building this website, no one knew it existed. So it was kind of like, what's the point of all this work that I put into this website if no one knows that it's actually there? So that's when I thought, I'm not going to just do all this work for nothing. Yeah. Let me figure out how can I get, people that are interested in the same games as me, the same consoles, how can I get them going to my website and just build up a community? And that's when I taught myself, internet marketing, SEO, through a lot of trial and error. Eventually, especially after lots of errors, I finally figured out, okay, there is a way to make this work. And then the website just went from 0 to like 100 unique visitors to thousands of unique visitors every single day. We had thousands of people joining like every single month. It just really blew up. And then it reached the point where this company, I was in the UK at the time, and then this company in America basically saw the website everywhere, all over Google, and they said, hey, we've seen you guys everywhere. We just want to buy you out because we want to have access to this brand, to this domain and all this. So I think I was 16 at the time, they offered a pretty good price to buy it. And I was like, yeah, sure, take it.
All right, I have to pause you right there. I got to make sure I'm hearing you right. You were 16 years old when you built this site.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this had to be what? You said 10 years, so around 2007 or so?
Yeah, I think around 2006, I think that's when I started, and I think I sold it in 2007. Yeah.
Wow. And so how did you have any knowledge with programming or SEO or any of that stuff beforehand?
Yeah, I did kind of dabble in a few things. So because I was a kid, I had no budget. Right. I couldn't spend any money to hire developers and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of taught myself, how can I build a website? How can I, get up and running? Eventually, it reached the point where the website itself started making money as it was getting traffic. So then I could hire other people to sort of do the techie stuff. Yeah. So I dabbled in it, but that's not really what I enjoy. I don't enjoy writing code and all that kind of stuff. I prefer just to do the marketing side of things and just building traffic, getting people going to the website. That's what really excites me. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, was that you said the site actually started making money? It was a video game site, but was that from ad revenue?
Yeah, from ad revenue. So it had traffic, and then we just put adverts. We put affiliate links as well. So we had links to Amazon and other websites, and it just started to make a little bit of money. I really had no idea what I was doing. It was kind of just testing, see what works, see what doesn't work. And eventually, just trying things, seeing what doesn't work and what does, you just get better and better at doing that stuff.
That's amazing. Now, I love the story because I'm sure there's so many people out there who are just dying about, what do I do with SEO and how do I get traffic to my site? The bloggers and the coaches and the speakers and authors and everybody else who's trying to do what you did as a 16-year-old kid. We're going to try not to be mad at you for figuring it out as you were playing video games.
Yeah.
But where were you getting your where were you learning from? Because obviously, like you said, you had to figure things out, and you had to have somewhere to start. Where were you getting your tips and things?
Honestly, you can get so much from Google. I started out just Googling things,
Right.
just looking on Google, reading lots of blogs, watching videos, just seeing what other people who were experts at this stuff, what they were doing, and just learning from them.
Wow.
Eventually, I reached the point where there's only so much you can get in terms of free information. So
Right.
there was this paid course that was also giving out how to, rank higher on Google, how this whole thing works. So I actually spent a little bit of money with that course to actually learn, and that really jumpstart everything. It sort of propels you forward when you actually pay for that sort of information. So I'm a big believer in like paying for courses and things that actually teach you stuff, because I know it can just save so much time and really get you to where you want to go. So it was just going online and looking at what's out there, looking at who's the best, and just really trying to copy them and learn from them, and just actually trying it yourself, because there's only so much you can learn, and then if you don't apply anything, it's kind of pointless, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to actually take action and apply. And I think the biggest things that I learned was when I actually would go and do the work, and then I would see what works and what doesn't work.
Okay. Wow. So you were, man, a lot of trial and error, and I love that you bring up an important point, because there's so many free resources out there. I mean, I have free stuff I give out. I'm sure I know you have free stuff. You got some great articles and blogs and things, but there does seem to be a threshold in any industry where at a certain point you're only going to get so much for free, and it is sometimes you do have to recognize that you're going to have to invest in something if you're going to get things to that next level, which is what you did, and obviously you did it right, because people started throwing cash at you at 16 years old to get what you
my
built.
parents were like, what are you doing? I hope this isn't illegal or anything like that. But I was like, no, it's fine. It's just the internet. So
Nice.
it's so good.
That's amazing. Now, well, what would you say was what was the biggest contributing factor to you succeeding at that? What was something you were doing that other kids and other adults at that point and even now maybe aren't doing or aren't doing enough?
So there's lots of little things that you do each day that sort of build up and, help you get better and better results. But I do think there was one thing that really stood out that I think I didn't realize that this was so powerful until many years later, but I just sort of did it, and it was creating content. So the content on the video game websites that I would have, I would update them like pretty much every day. I would have the latest news. I would have, reviews of games. I would just have so much content on there. And eventually I could only do so much. So I started to get other people to contribute their content on the website as well. I didn't know what I was doing. That I didn't know that was actually content marketing as we know today. I just wanted to provide value to people and help people, and I just created content. And it just happened that creating content was what Google loved, and it helps you rank higher on Google, and it's what the people love as well. If you have great content, it really sort of gets people interested in what it is that you do. So the content is, I think, such a key component of everything that you do. And I think if anyone's starting out and they want to, start getting some traffic, they want to get some traction in their own business, create content. It doesn't cost anything to create any content. You can start a blog, you can record videos on YouTube. There's so many different ways you can create content, but just get started and actually do it. I think that can, have some massive impacts on your business and entrepreneurial journey.
Brilliant. I love that you said that, because I wasn't going to go into this question, but I have to jump on this. I've read, and of course, there's conflicting information on everything out there, especially as we said before, when you're reading free information. So we have to filter some of this stuff through the lens of the fact that it is free. We don't know how good the information is. But what's your take on this? Because there are some places and some people that will preach that you don't really need to have that much consistent content. You just need to have really good content, and maybe not so much of it, but just push it out there to more locations versus having a consistent stream of, we'll assume it's good content. Where's the line between continuously generating content, which a lot of people freak out because of how much time it takes, especially if they're kind of playing both sides of the fence, where they're still working their 9 to 5 and then they're doing their entrepreneurial thing on the side. Where's that line, do you think, between just putting good content out there every once in a while versus nailing it consistently? In terms of doing what we're looking to do here, which is getting some juice as far as driving traffic to our websites.
Absolutely. I think consistency is really important. If I wasn't consistent at the time, when it comes to posting different things each day on those websites that I used to have, I don't think we would have got the same kind of results. Now, quality, it has to be consistent and have good quality as well.
Right.
That's also important. But at the same time, you don't have to be consistent in everything. Like, you don't have to be consistent in creating videos all the time, creating blogs all the time. You can just focus on one thing.
Okay.
Be consistent in one thing, and then once you've got good at that, you can add something else to that afterwards. So
Right.
there's a lot of people that, entrepreneurs that just start out and they just do one thing. It could be video, it could be Instagram. It's just one thing that they focus on. They get really good at that, and they're consistent in that, and then they add other things to the mix as and when they can. But as a minimum, you need to have one thing that you can be consistent in, I think, to really propel you forward.
Okay. Well, let me. I'm going to do a follow-up question to that. Then, do you think if people pick one thing, is that something they should stick with for? Let's say they decide they're going to do video, and they have an idea for maybe half a dozen videos, and they're going to knock those out. Should they stick with video for a specific period of time, or would you suggest maybe they do a video one day or 1 week, and then a blog post, and then some audio and then some other things? Where's your stance on that as far as the type of content?
Yeah, so I would personally prefer to be consistent with one thing initially, and say it's a video, do that each month or each week or as often as you can. And then once you get in the habit of that, then add something else into that. But I think if you spread yourself too thin, I mean, the same thing applies with social media, which is what we do now in our company. If you join all the social media channels, you can end up spreading yourself too thin if you don't have the time and resources to actually be active on all those channels. So the same thing can happen if you're doing a video here and a blog post there, and maybe a podcast here, and it's just really, it's just here and there. There's no sort of consistency with it. You can end up spreading yourself too thin and not really get any momentum on any of those channels. So I think it's better to focus on one thing and do that consistently, and then add other things, other mediums that you could also work on in the future. And something else that is also worth mentioning is, when it comes to deciding, should you do videos, should you do blogs, what's best for you? I always tend to think, who is it that you're targeting, and what is it that they are interested in? What do they consume? Because it's really about your customers and your clients is what are they going to be most interested in, and how can you be on the same platform and the same medium that they are going to be, consuming your content.
Brilliant. I appreciate that, because we hear so much these days that video is king, and you need to be doing Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives and everything else on Instagram Live, and everybody has something live these days, which is great. Yeah. But I think you bring up an important point that depending on your particular industry, what are your people looking for? So
exactly.
So let's get back to I love the story about your growth. I still can't get over that as a teenager, that you built this profession. Well, I'm sure you weren't even realizing you were doing it at the time.
Yeah.
But how have you evolved since then? So you sold the video game website, and what was your progression up to Skyline Social today?
Yeah, so quite a lot happened. So after I sold the websites, part of the contract was that I couldn't build any more websites about video games. Okay. So I had to start something new. And
forever?
It was not forever, just for a few years. But then as a side point, I kind of got bored of video games after a few years anyway, but whatever. So essentially I had to figure out, okay, what else am I going to do next? And it was at the same time that a lot of friends and family started to notice what I was doing, and they're like, hey, I've got a business. Could you maybe help me with my business in getting more customers online? And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? And that's when I started a business sort of I guess helping other businesses, other small businesses really grow their customer base using the internet, using SEO, all of that kind of stuff. And in 2008, that's when I actually started. It wasn't called Skyline Social at the time, but I started sort of like a web design and marketing and development company. We sort of did everything. And it was a pretty long journey from where we were doing everything to where we are now, where we just specialize in one thing. So yeah, that's kind of how we sort of evolved into video games, into an actual business that helps other businesses, to where we are now. We just sort of evolved over time and ended up doing social media.
Brilliant. So Skyline Social is now, your focus right now is social media, which is the meat and potatoes of the business today, which is really great, because I guarantee everybody listening right now is in some way, shape, or form on social.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what's the condensed version of what you do for your clients and people that, even if they aren't clients, people that visit your site, what can they expect from
Yeah.
you?
So over the time, we've tried to really help people with what it is that they actually need.
Mm-hmm.
So we started off Skyline Social doing lead generation. I was under the impression the main thing that other businesses want is more leads. Getting more people into their sales and marketing funnels so they can get more clients. And yes, that is really important, and a lot of businesses need that. But what I also realized is that we had clients that were getting lots of leads, but they didn't know what to do with those leads. They didn't know how to follow up with them or what they should say. And then what we've started to do now is really help them from start to finish. Say, okay, this is what you need to do to generate leads, and this is what you need to do to convert leads into paying customers. Because a lead isn't a paying customer; it's just a lead, right? Until you convert them. So we now help people with the lead generation side and the lead conversion side, just so that they can get the best results, which essentially is them growing their business, getting more customers, and that kind of stuff. So, just through, trial and error, we sort of just learned that that's something that people really need. And then we deliver that service rather than just doing lead generation. So now I'd say we focus on lead generation and lead conversion and just helping people with the strategy. Just how can they actually do that? How does it work? What do they need to do? What channels do they need to be on? What channels are their target audience on? All that kind of stuff, so they can have a plan that takes them from A to B.
Nice. Well, that's brilliant, and I'm assuming the majority of the lead generation that you work on right now is from social media.
Yes, exactly,
okay.
Exactly.
So our listener is an entrepreneur looking to get more leads. They're on social, maybe firing off on Facebook here and there, maybe some Twitter automation here and there, but they have no plan. It's
exactly.
Just all over the place. Where do you help when somebody comes in and wants to have this conversation? Where do you tell them? Because I'm sure you're telling them they need to hit the pause button for a minute, take a deep breath, and where do we start in turning this into something tangible to grow someone's business? Yeah.
So the biggest mistake that I see is that people come to us, or people have tried social media in the past, and all they've really done is post social media updates on their channels. Now, posting social media channels is great. It's a great way to build awareness. It's a great way to connect with your community and those that are following you, but it doesn't sort of get you in front of new people in a consistent and scalable way. So the first thing we want to do is see how can we get you in front of your target audience, and how can we really offer the people in your target audience something they would really be interested in. So that's how we essentially generate leads. So it could be a free guide, it could be a webinar, it could be any sort of content that they can consume for free that's going to be interesting to them. That's the first step to generate a lead. And most businesses don't have a system to consistently generate leads every day, every week, and every month. And that's the first system we want to set up for them. Once they have that system, the next system is a system to follow up with the leads to convert them into paying customers. So the way that we do that is usually through some form of email marketing. And again, we build up a relationship with them through emails. We send them more content. We build up more trust, more likability, and eventually reach the point where we actually can sell to them something. But we don't just jump straight to the sale. You have to build up a relationship first with them. And again, that's something else a lot of people don't do. They just go out there on social media, sell. They don't get great results. They wonder why. And it's because you sold too soon. You need to build up a relationship first and then sell to them.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, let's jump back to that then. So I'm assuming you have somebody they want to offer something free. If they're in fitness, maybe they have some free workout guides. If they're nutritionists, some free recipes, you name it.
Exactly.
Now, how far do they go with it? I mean, what do you normally suggest for your clients to do? Because should they have just one lead generation tool? Should it just be a one-page guide? Should it be that 30-page ebook that kind of feels awkward sometimes? Should it be a webinar? What should they do? Is that another thing that they should stick to one thing, or should they add a variety of options for people? What's your take on that?
In my experience, it really depends, because it's kind of what are your target audience most likely to be interested in, and it also comes down to is how well do you know your target audience, and how well do you know the kind of things that they would be interested in consuming? So For some people, they love ebooks. For others, they just want a checklist. For others, they want a video. Others, they prefer a webinar. There's so many different things. What you can now do, and something we've been doing a lot with our clients, is actually test different offers and just see what works best. So you actually don't even need to create the content yet. You can go on Facebook and say, I am thinking of creating a guide on, blah, blah, blah. Or you can go on Twitter and say, I'm thinking of creating a video on this topic. You can reach out to people and say, is this something you'd be interested in? If so, just reply back with your email, or just click here to enter your email. And you can start generating leads without even having any content. And then that way, is this something people are interested in or not? And if it is, great, then you create the content. If it's not, then you work on something else. So that's what we've been doing a lot now, to just test, because clients come to us and they say, I don't know. I don't know what people are going to be interested in. So I say, okay, rather than just not doing nothing, let's just test something and see what happens, right? And that's what we've been doing, and it's been working pretty well.
Brilliant. Okay. So once they have their freebie, let's call it, to draw some people in, then you get them into a follow-up sequence, I'm assuming, with
exactly
with an email marketing service.
Yeah.
Now, how in depth? Now, I've seen. I'm sure you have. I've seen these things run the gamut from. You get your free ebook, let's say, and then you get an email saying thanks for opting in and taking my free ebook. Here's my item for sale, or maybe here's a webinar and then something for sale. At what point is it overkill? Do you need a sequence of 10 emails or following up with this free thing, or is just 2 or 3 enough? Or is that another case of it depends?
Yeah, so it does depend, but I'll give you what we've been doing that's been working quite well. I think you have to be careful with extremes. Like, you don't want to just send people loads and loads of emails, just kind of get to the point sometimes with what it is that you're actually doing. And at the same time, you don't want to just send them 1 email or 2 emails and say, hey, thanks for downloading the guide, and now would you like to buy this product? It kind of doesn't work like that. So the balance that we've found is usually send out 3 to 4 emails providing value to them, like genuine value, not selling to them. And then the 4th or 5th email, then you can actually say, hey, by the way, this, if you for us, I'll say what we do. So we teach people how to do social media for free, and then we say, hey, if this seems like too much work and you don't want to do it, just so you know, we can actually do this for you. So we actually sort of present it that way, where what we are offering is kind of related to what we were teaching them, but they don't have to do that. They can just stay on and get all the free content and learn, because the main thing for us is to build up a relationship with people and to help them and provide value. So that's always the main goal with what we're trying to do. And we know that if we provide enough value, eventually they'll reach the point where when they need social media, or they want to outsource it, or they don't want to do it themselves, they'll go to us because of the trust and relationship we've built. But we don't mind when they do that. We can be very patient. We've had people that we've generated leads ourselves and they've converted in a few weeks because they want this now. We've had other people that convert in a few years because it's just not the right time for them, and that's absolutely fine. So I think you need to be a bit patient when it comes to generating leads and waiting for them to convert. I'd say keep focused on providing value. At the same time, let them know what it is that you actually do and how you can help them, but you don't want to shove it down their throat, so to speak, where they feel like, okay, this is too much, So it's just about being balanced, and try to put yourself in their shoes and think, if you were them, how would you feel if you were receiving these emails and these messages? And just try to keep it human as well. Try to be real with people, and don't do something you wouldn't do or you wouldn't like someone doing to yourself. Yeah,
you know what? And I'll be honest, that's one of the things that drew me to you. There's a million social media marketers out there, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. That's right.
But you really struck me as different because on your website you talk about how you started this company and you guys have some core values that carry throughout the organization. And in an industry where everything is numbers and data and conversion rates and click-through rates and all that stuff, to know that you have a set of, look, we actually stand for something other than the revenue. That's really cool. Where did that? Can you tell us about that and where that started? Where that started from?
Yeah, I think it kind of started based on what kind of business do I want to build? Because the thing is, social media is just a platform. It's like a means to an end, right? It's to help your or our clients actually achieve what they want to do, which is usually growing their business. And social media maybe might not exist in 10 years. In fact, when we started the company, we didn't really do social media. We did more SEO and other kind of things. But essentially, it come down to what do we really want to do to help people, and how do we want to do that? And I think if you have some core values in your business, no matter what happens in the future, what might change or what new thing might come along, as long as you have your core values, you'll be able to adapt to whatever whatever comes along. And I think, like you said, there's a lot of companies out there that all they care about is just getting as much money as they can from people. And not really providing any value or helping them. So they sort of sell to people on the emotional level, and it's kind of like a quick sale, quick money. But then, maybe they don't deliver the results, or maybe they don't get the client what they actually wanted. And I think as a long-term business, that doesn't really work. Maybe you can make some quick money, but I don't really think that's a sustainable business. And I think having those brand values just makes you aware of what is the core thing that you're trying to do, so that you always go back to that. So whenever we're creating content, whenever we have marketing material, I always think back to our brand values and what is it that we are actually, what is it that we want to do? How do we want to help people, and make sure that everything matches up to that? I think it's very important for any business, especially if you're starting out, to actually think about your brand values and what is it that you want to stand for, and what is it that you want to represent. And that will also help you stand out, because most people haven't done this exercise. Most people, they haven't thought about their brand values. So yes, I'd say it's very, very important.
Wow, I love it, man. I appreciate you for taking that stance from the beginning and keeping it going, and it definitely shows in the work you do. So,
awesome. Yeah,
I hope everybody, I'm sure everybody listening can acknowledge it and appreciate you for it. So, thank you. So, let me ask you. Let's jump back into some social strategy again, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So, we have these lead generation tools, regardless of the medium that we choose. And we're offering these things in our Twitter or Facebook, etc. At some point, that can also become a bit in your face and overbearing, probably just as much as offering a sale right away, but without cultivating that relationship. What's the balance that you suggest people strike between, maybe putting some post up, maybe update post or some quotes, etc., and how often should they mix in these offers, because that can become spammy after a while as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you'll notice is that most of the stuff that we send out, like 98, 99%, most of what we send out on social media in terms of social media updates, it's actually just providing value to people through content. So the time where we actually generate leads, it's actually a slightly different strategy than just posting on your social media channel. So if someone goes to our social media channels, they scroll down, they're going to see content, they're going to see guides, videos, advice, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to actually sort of generating leads and getting business from your social media channels, that's where we use a slightly different strategy rather than just posting social media updates. So as an example, on Facebook and Instagram, we would do Facebook and Instagram paid advertising to reach out a specific group of people with a specific message, and we would generate leads that way. And the great thing about, for example, just doing Facebook and Instagram ads is you can track how often people see your advert. So there's this thing on Facebook called a frequency. So if your frequency is too high, that means people are seeing your adverts too often. And then that's where we will just stop it or turn it off or change it to something else, because you don't want to show the same person the same message again and again and again. It's just going to get annoying. No one wants that. But you can actually track that stuff. So you can make sure that you just get your message once or twice in front of people, and that's it. That's not going to be annoying.
Okay. So, well, let's clarify this then. So, as far as the post updates on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, are you suggesting not to put those offers for free gated content, meaning the content they would have to opt in to get, like that free ebook and stuff? Would you suggest that they, for the most part, leaving that out of your feeds, and in terms of offering that gated content, the webinars, the ebooks, etc., should that solely be done through the paid advertising? Where's the
I don't think it should be solely just through paid advertising. I think it's good just to get things in front of people, but like you said, it shouldn't just be the only thing you talk about. So in terms of if you had to put a number to it, I would say 80% just, free content,
Yeah.
ungated, let people just consume it. And then 20% maybe your gated stuff. And remember, the gated stuff isn't selling to them. You're still, trying to
Right.
help them. It's just a way for you to generate some leads. But in my experience, if you haven't got a huge audience, or maybe you're just starting out, even if you post gated content all the time, which I don't recommend you do, but even if you
Right.
did that, it's going to be difficult to get some results, because when you post social media updates, the main people that see it are just those that you're already connected to. And
Right.
on top of that, a lot of social media channels, like Facebook is a big one, they will limit how many people see your post unless you pay them money. And unfortunately, that's just how it works these days. So
Yeah.
you need to do something to actually get out there in front of new people and build up a presence with people that have never really heard about you before. And that's kind of what we focus on with the lead generation. But I think there is a time and a place to post your gated content, as long as, like you said, it's not the only thing that you're doing. And the rule, I would say, is 20% gated, 80% just content that people can access.
Nice. Good. Great info. I appreciate it. So let's go with this then. So people have learned from you up to this point, to have something gated that people can get with just by design, choosing to opt in and get that free item. Now we're filling our social media feeds with great value, good content, articles, videos, etc.
Yeah.
When a question comes to advertising, specifically paid advertising, what's the square one of that conversation? Because I'm sure you get the questions all the time. Where should I do my paid advertising? It should be Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. What's going to get me my best return on investment? And what's square one advice for that?
Okay, there's a few different ways you can generate leads. Obviously you have organic and paid, so I'm just going to speak about paid for now. When it comes to paid advertising, I personally think that Facebook and Instagram are the leaders when it comes to that, for a couple of reasons. Number one is that the Facebook algorithm is super smart. I used to do paid advertising a few years ago, and I've seen how it's getting smarter and smarter, and they just have so much data on people that sometimes it's a bit scary, that they can really find out who your target audience is. Like, for example, if you have a lead generation campaign on Facebook, Facebook will look at the people that are actually filling in the form and becoming leads. They'll notice trends such as their demographics, their age, what are they interested in, and they will automatically optimize your campaign for you to show you to show your advert in front of people that are more likely to convert based on those that have already converted. And that's just insane. And it works really well that they just do all of that for you. So there's things you can do, such as split testing and all that kind of stuff, to improve the results. But Facebook want you spending money on their platform. So they're doing everything they can to make sure you get results if you use Facebook. So I'd say, that Facebook, and remember, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so it's kind of the same thing. They're just huge platforms that get great results. And also most people are on Facebook and Instagram. So, Facebook has over 2 billion users. If you compare that to like Twitter that has 300 million users, I know 300 million is a lot, but, compared to 2 billion, it just doesn't compare. Facebook is just way ahead of the game.
Wow. Now, do you see a big disparity between the results between choosing Facebook advertising versus Instagram, even though they're owned by the same entity? Are the results? Do the results seems to be very different, or for the most part, does it bounce out?
So there's a few ways you can do it. You can obviously do split testing and compare how Facebook goes against Instagram. That's one way. Or you can just do on Facebook, when you do advertising, there's an option where if you're doing lead generation, you can select to appear on all the different, Facebook and Instagram platforms and their partners and all that kind of stuff. In our experience, whenever we've tested this, like 9 out of 10 times, we get better results when we allow Facebook to show it on all the different platforms. And that's for a lead generation campaign. If it's a different goal that you're doing, it's not always the same. But when you're actually trying to generate leads, we've found that it's usually better just to let Facebook decide where to show it, whether it should show it on Instagram or on one of their partners or on Facebook. And you usually actually get a much lower cost per click as a result of doing that. But like all things, you have to test it. If you don't test it, you're never going to know for sure.
What's an example of a different goal that you'd be referring to, in case somebody's wondering? So versus lead generation, what's something different that it may not lead to the same results?
So one of the things that we've also done is maybe getting more awareness so that people actually know who you are and that you exist. So a really quick example of how that could work is you could have a campaign on Facebook. You could have a video on Facebook and you can have a campaign with the goal to get more video views. So Facebook right now is just so hot with video. They love video. They're competing against YouTube. They want to just destroy YouTube. But what that means for you is that if you have video, Facebook is going to do as much as they can to promote your video. So right now you can get a lot of views, video views on Facebook much cheaper than YouTube. So what you can do is set up a Facebook campaign to get more views for your video. And that's a great way to build up more awareness, build up more trust, get more people knowing who you are. And then the smart way that you can then leverage that is you can actually then do another campaign on Facebook retargeting those that watch the video. So you can say to Facebook, everyone that's watched the whole video or maybe 50% of the video, I want them to see this lead generation offer. And that's a really smart way to actually get lots more leads, but targeted leads. Only those that have watched the video will see that. So it's still going to be a bit cheaper because it's not going to go out to everyone. But at the same time, that's kind of how you can leverage, different campaigns and goals within Facebook to get you some great results. But again, you just got to test it, see what works, and see what happens.
Brilliant. Well, I got a feeling you probably already answered this question. But it's going to happen to somebody. Somebody's going to go to Facebook and say, you know what, I haven't tried this yet, so I'm going to plunk down. I'm going to budget myself and start giving this Facebook advertising a shot. And they're going to get to that question of, am I going to do a video ad or am I going to do an image-based ad? What's your take on that, and what have you been seeing lately? Because I'm sure it's going to evolve over time, but as of right now, what are you seeing?
It's a really tough one to say. We've got clients that they're getting much better results on video. We've got other clients that are getting better results with images. It really is difficult to say. What we normally do, just to maybe give some of your listeners some guidance, is we normally set up one campaign with maybe one group of people that we're targeting, and then we test a video ad against an image, or we test two different images. So you can set up one campaign and have one variable that's different, and then see what one is better. And then once you know what one's better, you can test that variable against another variable. So it's just a constant process of testing and seeing what works better. But it is a bit difficult to say what one will work better because it's different for every industry and type of business.
Okay. So you would target, depending on, once a listener chooses a target audience based on whatever factors they choose, then you would suggest testing out a video campaign with that target audience, and then would you stop the one video campaign and then start the next, or would you do them consecutively and just see what the results are?
So we'd normally do them at the same time just to see what kind of results you get. And again, it also depends on the client's budget. Do they have budget to run two of them consecutively? If not, then you just do one month and one another month. It's going to take a bit more time to get the results, but again, you have to play around with how much budget do you have, how much time do you have, all of that kind of stuff. And also there's other factors to think about as well, because maybe maybe you get more leads through an image-based ad, but the quality of leads through a video ad is even better. So that's just adds a whole nother element into it to make you think about it even more. So it's not black and white. What I say though is a lot of people get scared and they don't do anything because they just don't know what to do, or there's too many factors. And I'd say don't let that hold you back. Just get out there and do something, and then you can always work on improving it in the future.
Brilliant. And this is why you have clients, because you can really get down the rabbit hole of all these variables, all these options, and trying different things. Ashley, there's so much great info you give, and I'm blown away. I'm sure everybody's sitting there going, holy geez, I got to listen to this episode again and write this stuff down. But let me ask one other question as a follow-up to that. What's a fair amount of time that you would tell someone to give a campaign, or if they're testing video or testing an image ad? What's a fair amount of time frame before they can even say that they have a real opinion about how things are working? Is it a few days? Is it a few weeks? A few months?
Now that's a fantastic question. The timing isn't as important as how many people do you get in front of. Because if you have a big budget, you could get in front of a lot of people quite quickly in just a few weeks. If you have a smaller budget, it might take you more time to get in front of people. So what you need to look at is how many people is your advert being shown in front of, and then work out based on those numbers, what one is performing better. As a minimum, you should be looking at reaching out. Getting in front of at least 5 to 10,000 people to really have a good indication as to how well this is going. But it does depend again on some industries. We've targeted very, very specific industries where getting 5 to 10,000 people, even with the highest budget in the world, is just not that possible because there's not that many people using those channels, just because it's a very, very specific sort of industry. So it might take a bit more time to build up to those numbers. But what I would say is don't focus too much on the time that you run the campaign. Focus on how many people you're reaching out and getting in front of. And once you get over 5,000 at least, then look at the different variables that you've tested against and see what performs better.
Great. All right, one last follow-up question, because we could do this for hours, man.
I love it.
Let me ask you this, because I know somebody has this question. Probably a bunch of people have this question.
Yeah.
What's a good starting point for a daily budget we're going to just talk about Facebook ads at this point, because that seems to be the leader by far right now. What's a good starting point if somebody says, all right, I'm going to try $20 a day, $5 a day, $50 a day? What's a good starting point? Because I'm sure there's a point where it's too much to start with or too little. What's your take on that?
So we always recommend clients when they're just starting out to actually start off with a low budget to begin with, and then test and see what kind of results they get. And then as they see what kind of results they get, then they can scale up. But if you spend all your money straight away, it's very dangerous, because you usually don't have much data and you don't know what will perform better. So we normally recommend a low budget. And just to give you some numbers, what is a low budget? We are looking at, as a minimum, around $5 to $10 a day is a good starting point. You can go higher than that, but I wouldn't go much higher than that, at least not initially, until you've got more data on how people are responding to your message. But I don't think it's as expensive as a lot of people think. I know there's people spending thousands and thousands each month on Facebook ads. That's great, and you can do that, but only once you have the data to back up that spending thousands is going to result in thousands more than what you're spending. So it takes a while to build up that data and to work out your ROI and all that stuff. So start off small and then just work your way up.
We're going to assume that some of the people listening, thanks to you, are going to find some winning ads out there. What's your what's your 30-second take on how quickly should they scale up? Because I'm sure once they find a winner, they're going to say, you know what, people are responding to this ad. I'm getting leads. I'm getting opt-ins. Of course, if they're at $5 a day and they're getting some good results, they're going to want to jump that up. Is there a way to safely throttle that up?
Yeah, so you want to also look not just at how many leads you're generating, but how well those leads are converting as well. Because if they're not converting quite quickly, because some industries that we work with, it can take them, months or maybe even sometimes years for people to convert from a lead to an actual paying customer. So with them, they usually tend to take it a bit slower, because even though they could scale up their leads, because it takes them a while to convert those leads, it's going to take them a while to get the return on their investment. So they're not so much interested in just scaling up and just getting as many leads as possible, because it takes a while to convert those leads. Whereas if you're in an industry where you can convert them much quicker, that's usually if you sell something usually lower price, something that's lower priced. It's usually quicker to convert people. Then as soon as you're making money back on what you're spending on Facebook, then absolutely you can scale it up as quickly as you like, or as quickly as you can afford to get that result. But I would just make sure that before you scale it up, you are actually getting money back. So because getting leads, again, doesn't equal sales. You need to make sure that you're getting sales, not just leads. And sometimes what I've seen other people do in the past is that they've scaled up their campaign and they've generated lots and lots of leads, but they didn't have a system to follow up with those leads, and they didn't have a good system to convert those leads, and they ended up wasting a lot of money just because they didn't have that lead conversion system as good as it could be. So you want to start slow, test it out, make sure you have all the systems set up. Once you've got a system that works and you're converting your leads, and you can work out how much you need to spend to convert your leads, then you can work out how much you can spend to scale up. So that's all I just keep in mind.
Brilliant. So don't So don't base your increase in daily ad spend based on the leads you're getting, but wait and see. Wait
Yeah.
until you actually see how many of those leads are converting, and
Yeah.
then make that decision to scale up. That's brilliant advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ashley, can't thank you enough. I almost am going to feel guilty for putting you on the hot seat, but this is a virtual mastermind for business and life. So I got to fire off these 4 questions
Go
at
for
you.
it.
I feel like I'm just draining you as much as information as I
love
can
it, man. I love
to give everybody, but we appreciate you. All right, question number 1. What's a challenge that you've had lately, a business-related challenge that you've either recently gone through or you're working through right now, and how'd you figure it out, or how are you figuring it out right now?
Yeah, so one of the challenges I've had recently is with time management. Like you get a point where you just get so many, so many leads and clients, and it's just hard to work, not just helping the clients, but also work on your business as well. So going back earlier this year, there was a point where I was just spending most of my time just helping clients, and then I started to neglect my own business, and I wasn't working as much on my own business. That was a big challenge for me to overcome. One of the things I've done recently to help me overcome that is actually just have a schedule and stick to a schedule that really works. So now, for example, I only take calls Monday to Wednesday. So I do all my sales calls, my client calls Monday to Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I'm just working on the business. I'm working on creating content, generating leads, converting those leads, all of that kind of stuff. Before, it was kind of all over the place, and I never had a system. Like it wasn't organized. But I think you know, a lot of people listen to this might find that they spend so much time helping their clients, but you have to dedicate time working on your own business. Otherwise, it's not going to grow. And that's just something you just want to be aware of, and make sure you do dedicate that time to do that.
Brilliant advice. I'm sure we can all learn from that, because it does when there's so many things going on, and especially there's so many, one person shows out there.
Yeah.
So to make sure you have a schedule and stick to it, so you don't get lost in the shuffle. That's brilliant advice.
Yeah.
Let's turn the lens the other way. What's something that's really working right now, and that can be in business or your personal life? What's lighting you up and has you wanting to tell people about it?
Well, I would say social media, but that's a bit obvious, isn't it? So, I mean, I know we've spoken a lot about this, but really, like, Facebook and Instagram is just crazy, getting some crazy results lately. I mean, I know I mentioned earlier about getting results and leads through organic social media and paid social media.
Yes.
I just want to mention that we get a lot of people coming to us who are just starting out, and they don't have a lot of money and budget to spend on Facebook ads, and then you do have to sort of do it the organic way and just spend your time getting some results. So we've figured out some really cool ways that you can actually get leads without spending any money on paid ads, using channels like LinkedIn and Twitter. And I'd say that's a great starting point for a lot of people that are just starting their business, and they just want to do things, spending as little as possible, just spend their time going out there, reaching out to people. And that is something that excites me, because I haven't seen a lot of people doing it. Most people are just talking about paid ads, which is great. But if you don't have the money to spend on paid ads, how can you grow your business? You have to do it a slightly different way. Maybe you have to think outside of the box, so to speak. So something that excites me is actually the organic stuff as well as the paid stuff. So using channels like Twitter and LinkedIn, which are really underused these days, but you can actually get some really good results. Now, obviously, scaling up and growing and the potential to go huge, Facebook and Instagram are those channels. But again, if you're thinking about just starting out, don't forget about channels like Twitter and LinkedIn, where you can get some great results organically.
Brilliant. Nice. Well, I appreciate it, man. You even in your answers on the hot seat, you're still giving some great advice. So I appreciate it. So what's third question is, what's next for you on your horizon? What's exciting you? What's the next evolution of Skyline Social for you?
So yeah, that's a good question, and I'm really actually excited to share this, because I think this could be huge in the future. It is about Facebook, but you know how these days a lot of people, they use email marketing to follow up with people. Now, what you can now do is you can follow up with people using Facebook Messenger, using Messenger apps.
Yes.
And that's a complete game changer. We've been testing it out, and we've been getting open rates of over 90% to the messages on Facebook Messenger. So when you compare that to email, which is like maybe 20-30% open your emails, on Facebook Messenger, we're getting higher engagement, higher open rates. We're starting conversations with people. Now, obviously, Facebook Messenger it's a little bit more intrusive than email, right? So you have to be careful how you do it. You don't want to annoy people and spam people, but there is a right way to do it where you can really get some great results. And I think, I don't think, Messenger or anything like that is going to take over email, but I think it's a serious competitor to email. I think, this is just going to grow a lot more. And especially if you're, I guess if you're in one of those industries where people are just receiving so many emails all the time, people get tired of looking at their emails sometimes. And now this is something fresh and a new way to communicate and reach out to people. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, if this will take off or it won't, but it's something that I'm really looking into because, if it does take off, this could be huge for a lot of businesses. So that's maybe just worth keeping in mind, for the future. Yeah.
I love it. All right, and finally, the most important question is, and I'm sure people want to know, how can people reach out to you and catch up to you at Skyline Social and get more information like this? Because it's staggering how much just great content you have to share with people and help them scale and grow their business, regardless of what end of the spectrum they're at in terms of looking to grow organically or growing by spending a ton of money on paid ads. I know you're the place to go. So how can they find you?
So probably the best place to start, because you'll get access to everything like our videos, our blogs, all that stuff is our website, skylinesocial.com. And if you go to skylinesocial.com/learn, what I'll have is I'm still setting this up, but by the time you listen to this, I'll have a page where you can actually sign up to a course, a beginner's course to social media and content marketing. Is completely free to join, and you'll be able to go through everything you need to know. If you're just starting out in using social media to generate leads and convert your leads into customers, you can just go through that course, get access to all the information, and start implementing it to in your business. And what I love doing is just giving away this information for free, because we make our money back once people have already used all this information to grow their business and they don't have the time to do it themselves. That's where we step in and we can say, hey, we can do it for you. We'll save you the time, we'll save you the hassle, we do it for you. But before you get to that stage, you're going to have to start somewhere. So we just want to help people get to that stage, and that's why we have free courses and blogs and videos and all that kind of stuff. So skylinesocial.com/learn, you'll be able to access it there.
Gosh, Ashley, to say thank you is a complete understatement. And before we wrap this up, I want to take a second to make sure I recognize you for just doing something amazing, like your journey from being literally a kid dabbling in video game websites and building up to the point where you turned it into your first sale of a website, and then taking that and building a company that are based on some real tangible values to make sure you're actually helping people, helping human beings grow their businesses and take care of their families and support their friends. I know, so like we mentioned earlier, social media can seem so impersonal. But the impact it can actually have in people's daily lives because of how it can grow their presence in their industry and make an impact. It's really meaningful stuff, and I think you, of all people, should be recognized for your role in helping people do that. And because it's as crazy as it sounds, you're literally impacting people's lives by teaching this stuff and giving so much of yourself to it. So we appreciate you for it.
My pleasure. Always happy to help.
Yeah, great. I will make sure, obviously, everybody listening to this episode, if you go straight over to aaronkeithhawkins.com and just type in the search bar Ashley, it's Ashley. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
All right. I was going to give you a chance to correct me if I spelled it wrong. Type Ashley in the search bar, and you'll find, it'll take you right to the link to this episode, and you can get a link directly to his website, to his free course, to all his social media links. And please take advantage. And trust me, I can tell you he has so many amazing articles. We can go down a big rabbit hole if I started talking about all of them. There's a ton of great content. So if you're listening, you're probably interested in getting some help in growing your business through social media. That's the place to go. Ashley, thanks so much for your time.
Awesome.
We're definitely going
Thanks
to talk
for having
to you.
me.
Anytime. I'm going to call it now. We're going to have a part 2 of this one day soon.
For sure. Yeah,
social
definitely.
media keeps growing, and I'm sure we'd love to have you back to update us on some new things in a while. So thanks again for your time.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Aaron. I
All right,
appreciate
we'll
it.
talk to you.
Cheers.
Hey there, it's Aaron. Thank you so much for being here. I want to ask you something. If you got something valuable from this episode, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. Number 1, make sure you're subscribed so you get notified every single time I release an episode. And number 2, please make sure you stop by aaronkeithhawkins.com. There's always some free training for you to make sure you're creating the success you actually want in your business and in your life. I'm so fortunate to be able to share with you, and I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you for being part of this family, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.